us now is Green Bay Packers inside linebacker. You might know him as number 44, Ty Summers. Welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast.
What's up, guys? I'm glad to be on.
We are pumped to have you on, man. And we always like to ask our guests the same question. First question, dude, how does it feel to be a Green Bay Packer?
Oh, man, it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. I mean, there's no more legendary organization than the Green Bay Packers. So to get to experience that and be up here in Green Bay, Lambeau Field, the fans, I mean, Green Bay Packers fans are unlike any other that I've ever seen. I mean, I've watched a lot of games on TV, been to games, but there's nothing. I mean, when you have 60-some thousand people coming out to a practice, I mean, that just shows you what it's like to be a part of the Green Bay Packers and what their fan base truly means.
Yeah, and Ty, I thought we were really excited when you kept coming into last season as a rookie, and I thought you made an impact right away in camp and really solidified your opportunity to be on that roster in year one, and then over the course of the season, your contribution on special teams. I believe I saw that you actually had the most snaps of anyone on the team on special teams. So I'm sure that you found that to be a nice step, but now coming into year two, you're going to have a big opportunity to compete for a starting role. So maybe why don't you just bring us up to speed and catch us up on what you've been doing in the off season. I know you've had some big, personal things that you've been going through as well, some exciting stuff. So I would just love to hear you share what you've been doing in this off season as you're ramping up here.
But yeah, as you already hinted at, I got married this off season, so that was pretty great.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. But outside of that, in the football aspect, I've just been grinding. I kind of, especially with the thing with Blake, Blake being gone with the Giants. I know he's had a successful career there, and I was excited because that means that the opportunity to go compete for that job is there. So I've had, it's been extra fuel to the fire. I've been getting after it. Been bouncing around a few different places, working out, which has been nice because I've been able to get a lot of different perspectives and styles of working out that I've been able to implement my own as well. So, I mean, man, I'm just glad it's finally getting close. I feel like it's been a long time coming this off season with everything that's been going on. But we're here. We're getting there. It's less than a month away. Lord willing, it all works out. So ready to go compete.
For sure. And were there some things that, even though you weren't able to get on the field on the defensive side of the ball, were there some things that you were able to build on, and what were some things that you really focused on improving your game last season that you're going to carry into the year two?
I think the biggest thing for me is just my knowledge of the defense, and not just my position and what I'm supposed to do, but everyone around me. That was something I prided myself in that I was able to do at TCU. I knew what every single person around me was doing. And then it got to the point, because I knew all that, then I knew exactly what the offense was doing. So if you know what every other piece around you is doing, it helps you do your job better. And so this off season with the virtual, meetings and just all the access that I had on the iPads to study film, my knowledge of the defense has gone up tremendously because I believe that my athletic ability and my strength, my speed speaks for itself. I believe that's something that's my strength, and my knowledge of the game, my communication has always been a strength too. So now I really need to turn that up and make it my strength here, like I had it at TCU.
And you mentioned Blake Martinez earlier, and it looked like you guys were pretty close last season, from what I could tell. So were you able to learn from him in year one, and do you stay in contact with him now? I know he's in New York, as you mentioned. Just kind of wondering what kind of impression he made on you, and now that he's gone, this really is an opportunity for you to, we think you're going to be a starter this year, quite frankly.
I appreciate that. That's the plan. But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, Blake was probably one of my closest friends on the team. And even though he's, was a fourth year or couldn't, perform in his fourth season, he didn't let that make, a wedge between us because I was a rookie. we clicked really well. And the thing that I appreciated the most about him was his willingness to help me learn, because I'm obviously him and I played the same position. And so my mentality was come in there and try to take the job ultimately, if that was the case. But, he knowing that, he just answered any question I had, never left me hanging, pushed me to get better. And so that's something that I really appreciate going forward as I become a vet. That's kind of how I want to handle it. I want to be that kind of leader in the linebacker room, but of course on the defense and on the team, at some point in the future. So I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's almost a silver lining in having everything remote, in that you were really just able to focus on the defensive schemes. Am I reading into that, or do you feel like that's definitely an element of what you've been able to glean from an interesting OTA season?
No, that's definitely the case. Of course, if I was having a regular OTA, I'm also, practicing on technique, on working through plays, which are all very important and vital. Football's played on the field; it's not played on an iPad. So that's important. But it has been nice because that was an area that I would consider a weakness last year, was just my knowledge, just because I was coming from I was coming into a scheme that I never played in before. So having to understand all the different, even the terms for drops and stunts and alignments, things that I hadn't faced before. I hadn't had a 3-4 where I had 3 interior and 2 outside linebackers. I didn't know what an underfront was. All those things that I had to kind of learn, learn the basics over again. So the fact that I've been able to really sit down, and that's all I've been able to do aside from my own workouts and own drills that I do outside, it's been nice to really be able to see every little piece over and over again every day. So it's been nice to have access to that. I really like the way the coaches handled it this year.
Yeah, and building off that, are you able to communicate with your teammates quite a bit? Are you all talking? What does that look like? Because this is so unique. I think across the NFL, I imagine folks are kind of building the airplane while it's still in the air, so to speak. So are you communicating with coaches? Are they available, or is some of this kind of study sessions on your own?
It's really on our own, but I've kept in touch with some of the guys in the inside linebacker room. And the coaches said going into it, they're like, hey, get ready to come back in the best shape possible with this off season. It's nice we still able to have access to the iPads so that we can study that stuff on our own. So it's all on us. It's basically how bad do you want it? What kind of time are you willing to spend?
For sure. And I have to think part of the studying too, that's really, especially important for someone like you in the way that you play the game, because and last season in the preseason, what I saw, and then going back to your time at TCU and just watching some of the highlights from your playing days there, you're someone that really, I can tell, just prides yourself about being around the football, playing instinctually, being physical, and moving downhill. And I think those are some things that really stand out when I see, you're really just getting on your key and able to make a break and close in on the football. So can you talk a little bit more maybe about some of the intangibles, or maybe some things that the coaching staff has asked you to do that the average fan may not really realize is happening out on the field?
On the field individually, it first comes to this understanding and knowing exactly what gap I have, what the front is doing, what the guys are doing in front of me, what the DBs are doing behind me, kind of understanding that role, because I knew what I needed to do, but to take it to the next level, I need to also know and understand what everyone else is doing. So that's the first one. Second one was get comfortable doing zone drops, because so much at TCU in coverage, what we do is match coverage or man. So I would be chasing people all around the field, and it'd be covering receivers and all that stuff. So I'm so used to reacting in that way that I really, in this defense, it's easier because I'm just dropping into an area and looking around and knowing that I have people around, I can pass things off. And so it's really a lot less work. I was making it a lot harder on myself because I was thinking, okay, a guy's coming here, I need to cover this guy. And then all of a sudden, crap, I got to cover this guy. He's going the other way. And I would just my heel spin because I was making it too hard. So getting, just basically understanding what everyone else is doing around me, so I know, hey, I don't have to chase that dude to the flag because I have a guy out there. So that's a big one as well. The physical part, they know I want to be physical. They know I'm fast. And then I'm strong, so it's just using it every single play as well.
Ty, I've got a kind of a bigger, 30,000 foot question for you. Reflecting on last season, it might be two different answers actually, but do you have like a highlight personally last season as your first season with the Green Bay Packers? And then also, the season was so special for all of us. Wags and I were at the Seattle game at Lambeau. You were crushing on special teams. So I guess, one, what is your personal highlight of last season? And two, is there a highlight from a team perspective that you can remember from last season?
A highlight personally, I would say a cool moment for me was my first tackle on Tariq Cohen against the Bears. I think it was my first rep of punt. Just going down, I was so fired up. I was like, I got it. If I can find a way to make a tackle a game, I was thinking, okay, 16 tackle specials, that'd be great. And so I started first couple games with a tackle in each of them. I was like, okay, sweet. But that first play made it. I was so hyped. Just my first contact, first tackle in the NFL, like that actually counted. I would say that was a big one. And then, of course, winning NFC North, division, I guess against the Vikings, that was a cool moment, just celebrating in the locker room with my teammates, So I'd say those two are probably the coolest ones. And sorry, what was the second question?
But I was just curious from a team perspective, and I think you kind of answered it there. If there was something, that was just like a special moment that you could remember from year one.
Yeah, I would say that. That was a good one. And another cool moment, I think, just even more personal, was when Blake and I traded jerseys after the Bears game. We just kind of were like, hey, before the equipment guys see it here, let's trade him real quick. So I thought that was cool again because he's a cool vet, and just he was wanting to have my jersey. I was all special teams. And this dude was 200-plus tackles. But it's because we were close, we were friends, and he was like, hey, man, I want it, And so I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome. What was that flight like, flying back after the NFC North once you won that thing? Because I imagine that was pretty loud.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. Guys were excited. It was nice. It was a quick trip too. It wasn't a super long flight, but we were all pretty pumped. But I feel like the way that we were operating, it was like, okay, it was exciting. But then the moment we got off that plane, we were like, all right, who we got next? And so at that point, I think it was all Lions after that. So we were like, hey, Lions, let's go. We got to finish this thing out. So that was kind of the mentality there.
That's great.
I was going to ask, and I know you're probably going to feel like this is a question you've been asked all the time, but I'm going to change it a little bit. So we know that you're a converted quarterback. You probably talked about this all the time when you were in college. But one of the things that's really stood out to me is your ability to, blitz a quarterback. Do you feel like your time as a quarterback in high school has enabled you to be able to read what the quarterback's going to do and has helped you when you're, either coming off the edge or coming up a gap?
Yeah, I think it has. I mean, because two examples. If you're blitzing off the edge, a traditional quarterback escape route is outside. Especially if you're blitzing to them, they're going to try to spin out, get outside of you because they don't think defensive guys expect that. They think they're just going to step up. And so there's times I remember specifically in college blitzing off the edge that I would know that was going to happen. I would bait them into doing it to make the tackle. And so that's one. But then, of course, coverage is a big one too, just because my understanding of route combinations was big and reads and what they're looking for. So I'll try to set it up, to make sure that the quarterback either thinks he can throw it over me, but I know he's going to. So I'm deflecting passes or set it up for him to throw the short route to the running back. So we just rally on tackle. Just understanding that kind of what he's trying to do is looking off. Of course, there's guys like Aaron Rodgers, that's impossible. It means absolutely nothing because he's going to look wherever he wants and throw wherever he wants anyways. But on a typical quarterback, it's easier to read and to understand that stuff given my past at that. So it definitely benefited me knowing that. And I got used to understanding what everyone's doing on the field because as a quarterback, you got to know what the whole offense is doing. Then you also got to know what the whole defense is doing. So it kind of made me have to always think really big perspective on the football field versus just, okay, what am I doing as a running back? What am I doing as a receiver? So taking that to playing linebacker, I got to know what everyone else is doing And it makes it easier to do that because I've done that my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And by all accounts, and we talked a lot about Blake, and he was someone that was really close to, I know a lot of you guys. He's been with the Packers for 4 seasons before he moved on now. And by my understanding is you guys had a very strong locker room last year. So what do you think, what do you think some things that you guys can do to bring everyone together in such a short time? Because I firmly believe that culture can make a big difference week to week when you're in that grind in the NFL.
I think the biggest thing is kind of pick up where we left off. We still got guys like Z and Preston that made it a big point to get together outside of practice and outside of games. Adrian Amos, Ja, a bunch of guys that are really in tune with the need to spend time together, to have chemistry, to build that chemistry. You can't just do it on the field. You got to do it outside of it. So I think we make that an emphasis, even with the short time that we do have before season, depending on how it all works out. I think that'll be a big part of our success this season. And I believe that's something, considering we have a lot of the same leaders, that will end up taking place.
Hey, Ty, switching gears a bit, you recently had a football camp, and Wags and I were really excited to just see you're doing that. It's definitely an opportunity for you to give back, I think, is really how we were seeing it. So curious what motivated you to want to do that. Was it just your love of the game? Because we think you love to play the game of football. You play with that passion. So, please tell us a little bit about this camp. I know it just happened, but I think it's important for folks to know more about it.
Definitely. I mean, it was something I was actually I've always thought it would be awesome to have a camp. I knew of a lot of NFL guys that did that, and I was like, I love the idea of it. And I actually was reached out to by a guy that I went to high school with back in the day, and his name was Ian. He works with Bam Fam Marketing, and they have this camp. They always try to find athletes and do this fundraising camp. It's free. The kids don't have to pay for it. They have sponsors that give out little gifts and little bags that have stuff for them, shock doctor and a few other items. And so I was like, man, when I got approached by that, I was like, man, I'd love to have a camp. And for me, I don't need to make money to do it. I love the reaction. I love to do stuff with kids. So he presented that, and I was all about it. Of course, I would have loved to do it in person and really get to connect with those kids. But, the fact that it was on Zoom, I tried my best to still, be there and communicate with them specifically. And it was a good time. I enjoyed it. Hopefully next year, because I plan on doing it again next year, hopefully then it'll be actually in person. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, we hope so too, because I think that means everything's a little bit back more to normal.
True.
So,
yep.
But anyway, you've been really good for your time, so we don't want to keep you too much longer. But just curious, what are you hearing? We've been trying to stay really positive and not talk about, what's going to happen with this season. But we saw that Goody and Mark Murphy had some comments about that recently, where realistically, they're working on plans, but time is running short. So what are you hearing or feeling? Are you confident that we're going to be able to have as normal of a season as possible under the current circumstances?
I mean, I probably haven't been paying as much attention to it as I should. My mindset, I'm just locking in like it's happening. I'm not thinking any other thing until I'm told otherwise. So I mean, I've heard all sorts of things. I hear it changes every day. But as of right now, my mind, camp starts July 28th. I'm going to be ready to go for that. And if it's going to be later, then I'll stay ready. So I don't know. I wish I could tell you. Heck, I wish I knew for sure. But hey, right now I'm thinking July 28th.
Awesome. My last question for you, because, again, you've been super generous. I'm just curious, man. You got the earbuds before the game. What are you listening to? Do you get hype up music? Are you chilling out? What do you got going for yourself?
I kind of bounce around. There's certain songs that maybe aren't the best songs that I listen to right before going out, just to get pumped up, some rap, but I try to keep it relatively clean with some Christian rap, or I listen to a little rock, some Creed. or what's another one that I listen to? There's a couple bands I listen to, but I don't know. My favorite song that I've had for the last, I would say, since like my junior year of college, that I still listen to like at least once before a game is "Dreams and Nightmares" by Meek Mill. I don't know why. Whenever the Eagles came out to that for the Super Bowl, it got me so pumped up. So that song gets me pumped up, and it's a terrible song. So I do not support any kid listening. But it gets me going. So that's
awesome.
one for sure.
Well, Ty, thank you.
Occasionally I'll throw in some classic rock too, change it up.
What kind of classic rock? What Boston?
Yeah, I got a little Boston. No sleep till or Jukebox Hero. That's a good one too.
I love it.
Kind of go hard, so I change it up a little bit.
I dig it, man. So are you a karaoke champ too? I mean, I hear the pipes coming out.
I try to stay away from the microphones. I don't want to hurt anyone's ears.
Well, you never know. They might have you mic'd up, but hopefully they let you know beforehand if they're going to do
exactly,
that.
Exactly, yeah. I would plan accordingly. Most definitely.
Well, Ty, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. We really appreciate it. It's great to catch up with you. Hopefully we'll have another opportunity down the road. Best of luck in camp, and we're looking forward to seeing you lock down that starting gig, and really hopefully hitting a full season here, and like you said, picking up from where you left off last year.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed speaking with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Ty.
Go Pack, go.
Yes, go Pack, go. Y'all take care, all right?
Later.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. There ain't no second place in Lambeau. It's a whole new game.